That's
Welcome to Streaming for Vengeance.
okay.
Legendary Toto guitar player, Steve
Oh,
Lukather. How are you doing, sir? What are you doing up at 8 in the morning?
I usually get up at 5:30, man. Go to
Wow.
bed early, get up early. I mean, this is a new life this last year due to the COVID. I've been like homebound. Turns out I hate retirement, so I don't really want to do this anymore. I got a record out, that just came out on Friday, and solo record. I Found the Sun Again, and we're doing promotion for it. And we got a band together. Joseph and I have a record out same day, and we're both working on each other's stuff. And David Page is involved from Toto. So, we're just going to go out and play. We got a new little band together, and we're just going to go out and play the hits, play the deep cuts, play solo stuff, and just have another go at it. You know what I mean? We've had 15 incarnations, so.
No, I hear you.
Why not? We're the only ones left that want to play, so.
Well, the only other example I can think of is where band members released albums on the same day would have been Kiss.
Yeah, that's when I played on one of those records, Peter Criss. I was just a kid,
Wow. So this conversation initially was going to be talking about the whole Widex thing, if you're talking about that, because it really strikes deeply. And like, can you recall the actual, when you get really seriously injured, you get, something deep in your gut. I'm like, oh my God, I'm really hurt.
Yeah.
When did you get that feeling that your ears were really seriously injured, where you're like, wow, I got a problem?
In 1986, I played a show in Japan with Carlos Santana and Jeff Beck and Jan Hammer and Simon Phillips and Dougie Wimbish from Living Colour. And it was the loudest thing I've ever been on stage with. There was no dead spot on the stage to get away from.
Right.
At one point, I jumped over a monitor, and that was the night that the tinnitus never stopped.
Wow.
Never. I've been having a ring in my ear ever since 1986. So that's batty enough. But then as the years go on, I've been wearing headphones every day, loud in the studio when I was a session guy for like 15 hours a day or whatever, every day for, 25 years, and plus playing live. And I've been playing loud ever since I was 10 years old, So, it's just eventually going to catch up. Everybody at my age has a dip between 4 and 8K. Mine was just a little deeper. And then when they put it back, they put you on an equalizer and they bring back the deficit. So the deficit is also the ring in the ear.
Right.
Your body's generating the exact tone that you burned out. So once they figure that out, they can bring it up. The tinnitus helps. So it's really a win-win for me. Look, is anybody surprised that I have some hearing issues after 55 years of shredding my ears? I should be a lot worse. I mean, I wore ear protection for 20 years before I got these Widex things, but the TV was on full blast. I could never hear anybody on the telephone. People talking to me were like, I started missing stuff. And that got very frustrating because I had to say what 10,000 times a day, and it just pissed everybody off. And finally, when I got it back, I'm like, I can hear again. This is amazing. It's just really amazing to hear articulation again.
Well, it must have been a hell of an emotional curve. It's like a painter not being able to see. Like, you are put on this planet for one purpose, and then you can't hear. Like, that must have been a really emotional
struggle. I could hear, but it was, when I was playing music, it wasn't so bad. I just had it EQ'd differently, a little too much, but to make up for the deficit. But once I got these, I was able to adjust my in-ears to the deficit and not have to wear an earplug on top of earplug. You know what I mean? So it's been enlightening, and it's been really positive for me. So what can I say? I'm not ashamed of it, man. I'm 63 years old. What do you want from me?
My father worked for Winchester, so he would be testing rifles for years. So
that'll do it.
So I get it. I to live with it. So how did it affect your family? You know what I mean? Because I really missed talking to him. I couldn't have a two-way conversation. You're right. It was always what? A
lot of nodding and yeah, right. I get every third word.
Yeah.
It's frustrating. And the TV was like, DEFCON 200 dB for me to hear it, and everybody's like, God, dude, what's wrong with you? It finally caught up with me, and I said if I could get some help, and Brad from Aerosmith turned me on to.
Right. Okay.
And I could tell he couldn't even tell. I'm wearing them. You can't tell.
No, not at all.
So I mean, I don't mind being a spokesman for something like that, because I mean, it's like somebody's got to come out of the closet and say it's okay to get these. I've a lot of famous rock and rollers that want to know what I got.
What was the first sound when you officially got this? What was the first sound that you heard that, wow, I haven't heard this sound in 25 years?
Talking to people.
Yeah.
just being able to understand every word and not go, huh? You know, just talking on the telephone. And then live, you know, I was able to get that. Those were found out with the frequencies of deficit and put it re-EQ my monitors. And now I hear like a normal person.
Now, there's a stigma attached to actually wearing these things because you look old, but you can't see them now, right? But a lot of people wouldn't wear them because you got these.
They imagine the big, huge, gnarly ones from our youth. You know, I mean, that's
right.
what kept everybody from even going for it. I mean, is there anything wrong with trying to help yourself? No. Right. Yeah, it's a prosthetic of sorts. You know.
Yeah, of course. How did it affect writing the new music? You in the studio, how did it better you?
I just leave them in all the time, and then I have regular hearing, and I take them out at night to charge them. I mean, when I take them out at night, it sounds like it's a pillow over my head. You know.
Right.
So you realize, wow, I really did more damage than I thought.
So talk about the new record, and it's like you just continue to reinvent yourself. Like it's really, you're hard to keep up. Your resume is like a mile long.
I've been doing this for 45 years, man. It's hard to believe that I pulled it off myself. You know, I just keep trying to do something artistically different. You know, I thought to be different in this days is to be real, which is to go in the studio with guys that can really play and interpret music. No rehearsals, no click tracks, no Pro Tools tricks, just like old school. Set up and play live solos and everything. So we did a song a day. I did the vocals at night. Next song, 8 days, the album's done. Then we mixed it.
How easy is it to create during COVID? Like, have you been
more productive? It was right the month before COVID lockdown. So we were able to sit in the studio and not have masks on and all that stuff. And then by the time I was mixing, I had to wear a hazmat suit to go to mix, you know. But, you know, I've been in my house pretty much for a year waiting to see what happens next. And this year is not looking so good yet. So I hate the thought of sitting around my house for another year, you know.
As a creator, you're also born to be on the road. So it must be like, well, you're one of millions of people that want to travel. I can't travel either, but I'm not a musician. So,
well, I mean, everybody's got to be real careful until we get this under control. I don't see this as a political thing. I see this as a humanity.
Right.
Well, let's get rid of this thing and then we can bark at each other again if that's what you want to do. But come on, guys, let's get rid of this. This affects everybody.
You and your music really reach out to my demographic. Brave Words is normally known as a hard rock and heavy metal site.
Right. I love all that music. I mean,
but we also
great friends here in the back.
We also, yes, of course. But we also know where the riffs came from. Are you happy hanging out with the Headbangers?
No, I feel like they've accepted me somewhat. You know, I'm a musician that falls in the cracks. I can go jam with Slash, and I can go jam with Herbie Hancock and Wayne Shorter, and I can go jam with the country guys. I love all kinds of music, but I'm basically the rock guy of the band. You know, I was the guy with the country guitars going, come on, man, let's make this rock a little bit, you know? And that was my job in the band. So I always thought of rock, it's rock music. I don't know what you want. It's a permutation of rock music. I know it's our flavor to it, you know. And it keeps morphing and changing a little bit. You know, we go all the way back from the overproduced stuff to me doing a minimalistic record right now just to do something different. And say, I can do this for real. No fixing, no comping solos to make the perfect one. It's like, this is a performance snapshot. This is it. In an era when you can't program that into a computer, so you have to do it for real.
Right.
So not everybody can do it. So
I have to offer condolences because you and Eddie Van Halen were really tight. And what did his presence, like, when did you meet him? And what did being in his presence and vice versa mean to you? What did you take away from that friendship?
First time I heard him was jaw dropping, you know what I mean? And then we did a show together in '78 at the California World Music Festival, and I met him and we hit it off, and you know, it's like kindred spirits. And he's called me and said, come over. And from that moment on, we were close friends. And that was in 1980 or something, like 1979. And we were just, I loved him so dearly as a human being, you know? I mean, forget that he's one of the greats of all time, you know? I knew him as the man, you know, and as my friend, it would pop up and we get in all sorts of trouble together, and then we wouldn't. And, you know, it's like, you know, we were just, I just loved him like family, man, you know. So losing him was tough. I've lost a lot of my best friends in the last few years, and it's, you know, the wagons are circling. I'm going, uh-oh. You know.
Yeah, it's terribly sad. It's tragic. Absolutely tragic.
I'm the same age as my father when he died. So you get that mortality and you go, oh, anything's possible from here out, you know.
Wow. Did you guys actually do any work together, you and Eddie? Like,
oh yeah, he worked on my first solo album in '89. He worked on my Christmas record. I played live with Van Halen a couple times. I sang backgrounds on some of the Sammy era records, just oohs and stuff. I just happened to be at the house, you know.
yeah.
And Templeman or somebody said, go out there and sing the third part. You know, I just did it and for fun, you know. And he played with us at the Jeff Porcaro tribute. We've jammed a million times with like little weird show up in a club and play. It's just for fun.
Sweet.
But we always had a million laughs, man. I'm gonna miss him. I already miss him so much. It's tough, man, you know. All in my heart, man. We went through a lot of life together.
Yeah, yeah. Well, let's get on to a brighter topic. What do you learn playing with a Beatle?
Wow, man, just being in the room with the guys that were the template for all the music we love, you know, and still the classical music of our era. It's jaw-dropping because I got into music watching the Beatles on the Ed Sullivan Show in 1964 in my living room in North Hollywood. Now, what are the odds, mathematical odds, of me working with 3 of the 4 of them and then being in a band with one of them for 9 years, you know?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Astronomical. So, I mean, I pinch myself. I don't take it for granted. I adore all those guys, but Ringo's really my guy, man. He's really the real thing, and I cherish his friendship and talked to him yesterday, as a matter of fact. He looks great, and he's in great spirits. So I'm going, he's 80 years old. I mean, how can I get lazy, you know?
Yeah, right. I love that.
He said, I'm off to the treadmill now. I'm going, yeah, the gym. The only gym I'm going to is Jim's the mortuarist, you know, the mortuary guy. Jim, the mortuary guy. Make sure you keep it a closed casket, okay?
Is there an idol of yours alive and dead that you would have loved to play with?
I would love to play with Jimi Hendrix, man. That would have been a trip. You know, get to play with him and see where he lives, talk to him, get into his head a little bit. But you know, there's so many people, man. I mean, I got to work with so many of my heroes, so I can't be mad about that. Steve Winwood's a guy that I've always admired and loved, which is why I did one of his songs on my record, because I wanted to do a record that we could jam on, but within the context of great songs. So that era, the early 70s, had a lot of records like that. They were jam, but they were always great songs. It wasn't just, you know, melody, solo, 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 fade, next, do the same thing. You know what I mean? I'm not that guy. You know, I have a lot more in my creativity that I need to get out besides just making guitar records. There's so many guys that do it better than me. I figured I better do something else, you know.
I was speaking to Chris Holmes a couple of weeks ago, and the topic of Eddie came up, and tinkering with guitars, because I don't know if you've seen the Mean Man documentary. It's really a lot of fun, but there's parts where he's like literally tinkering. And I said, I've seen a lot of photos with Eddie Van Halen tinkering and doing like the Jeff Beck, the Workshop, that classic album cover. Are you a tinkerer like that?
If I take things apart and put them back together again, there's always a missing piece. You know what I mean? I'm not that guy.
Okay.
Some people have that knack. You know, I'm lucky to turn my computer on in the morning, you know,
right.
Child of the 60s and all that. You know?
So I'm going to date you because I was 11 when I bought this.
Oh, wow. Well, I was 19 when I did it. So
no, but like, it's like, how does it, like, I guess an 11-year-old in Canada, you hear it on the radio. It like, that was the song, right? That took you around the world.
Yeah, man. That was the first one, man. The first one always has a special memory. You know, David Paich wrote a great song, man, and put us on the map.
Were you ready to go?
Well, we knew what we wanted. We'd all been working with other people and making records for other people at that point. I had just started becoming a studio musician, really, and I was out with Boz Scaggs for that summer tour of Silk Degrees, one of his biggest tours, you know. 7 nights at the Greek and stuff sold out. And, you know, it was a magical time for me as a young kid to jump on at that high a level. And, you know, we had already been doing some demos for Toto in the January of that year. And we went out in the summer with Boz. And Jeff and I were on that tour, and Steve Porcaro was on that tour. And we just had the greatest time. And then when we got back, Sony had offered us a deal. It was Columbia at the time. And we didn't really have anything. We were just doing demos. And so David had these trick bag of songs that just could go no wrong. So we went in and started cutting. And what you got is the first album. And then we had to figure out how to play it live. You make these big produced records, you go, okay, now what do we do? You know?
Well, it was your ticket to ride, right?
Hey, you know, we threw it against the wall.
And that's stuck.
You know, and I listen to it now, and which rarely, but when we remastered it, I listened to it, I said, wow, we were kids. We were actually pretty good.
And who actually came up with that original riff then? Was that your brain?
David Page on the piano. I just put the heavy part on it.
Okay. Okay.
By redefining the low end with some fifths and stuff like that, tripled guitar and stuff like that to give it a little more oomph. You know what I mean? So rock radio would embrace it. It did at first, and then they started putting out ballads, and then they labeled us the pussy band and wrote us off. If you come see us live, you see a whole nother band.
Right. It's kind of like REO Speedwagon. I saw them open up for Def Leppard. I'm like, man, this is more than just a couple of ballads. This is, and I know their work, but it's kind of the same thing, right?
Yeah, but they're great. Nice cats, man. I mean, great band.
My last question is kind of like a left field one. And when we were going back and forth, I sent you a bunch of written questions, and this was kind of a tongue-in-cheek one.
Okay.
Why weren't the Tubes the greatest band on the planet?
Well, I was a fan in high school. And David Page worked on one of their records, I think The Young and the Rich or something like that. So we listened to the Tubes all the time, loved them. And I got the call from David Foster to come in and help them write a song and cut something with them on the Completion Backwards period. So I came down and had nothing, and within an hour we had that track. And so I played everything on it, and even the bass, because the bass player didn't want to play on it because he didn't write it. So I played. It was a little weird, man. I think if you have a magnifying glass, you can see my name on the record. But it was a very successful record, and I went on to work with Fee a bunch more over the years. We hit it off great, and Prairie as well. I love all those guys, and they certainly didn't need me, but they brought me in, I guess, with Foster to write a hit song for them, and we did it twice with She's a Beauty as well, and the same sort of thing happened. I played the guitars on it, and the other guys just stared at me like, And but a hit's a hit,
Yeah.
And, it was fun for me. I don't know how they feel, but it was fun for me. Fee and I always got on great. Carried on working on my solo stuff, writing words with me and stuff. He's a great cat.
So you must actually sit there and listen to an FM radio station, and every hour there's a song that you're on.
Well, it's worse with the top 40, like, what they call that yacht rock stuff, because all that was like a snapshot of the era of all the sessions we did. So we're like, at least one of us is on every one of those songs. And my only question is, where's my yacht?
Yeah, right.
Make fun of me and call it a silly name, then where's my yacht? I mean, they just find it funny that everybody wants to find names for stuff and put everybody in a little box, because that box really doesn't contain us if you've seen the whole big picture. But hey, I'll take it, whatever. People listen to the music and they like it. I don't care. People that hate it ain't gonna like it anyway, so it doesn't matter.
What last question maybe? What would be the one song that you've written that describes you the best?
The band?
Yeah, you and the band.
I would say, I've been asked this before, and I have a pretty good answer for it. I would say the song Rosanna has all the elements of the band. Multiple singers, great solos from keyboards and guitar. It's legendary drum beat now. And we just did that in take two, man. The jam at the end wasn't supposed to be there. We did it anyway. And we said, "You got that? Did you get that?" And they got it. And then we just started overdubbing a little bit on that. And so I'd say if somebody wanted to hear one song and say, "This is Toto," I'd say play that one. Because Africa's not it. That was a weird little throwaway song we did. And it turned into this, big golden carrot. And we're just laughing, going, "Okay, man, well, I'll take it any way it comes,
And my last question then, how do you balance then? Because you're the heavy guy, but you also know something about harmony. Where did you learn?
Well, yeah, I play piano in my ballads too. I like all kinds of music, man. I'm not a musical snob. I like the heaviest stuff. I like a great pop song, a great funk song, country song, whatever it is. I love a good classical music, bluegrass picking. Anybody that's a virtuoso gets my attention because it takes a lot of years and to get that good.
Right. Great way to end. Thank you so much. Good luck with everything. Hope to see you on the road. All right.
Stay safe. Man.